Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Arica y Parinacota in Chile. As you can see, we're in the northernmost part of Chile, bordering Peru and Bolivia. Very important to its history. It has a Pacific coastline where we can find Arica, the largest city here. I'll show you on Google Earth after the history section, but Arica is home to the Morro de Arica. I should roll my R's, the Morro de Arica, which is this huge rock on the seaside, which we're going to mention briefly in history, so just keep that in mind. I really like the name Arica y Parinacota. That was changed, just over 10 years ago. Because we have the Arica region over here, which has not just the coast, but it's mostly made up of the Atacama Desert, the driest desert in the world. And the Parinacota area is over here, which is the Andes Mountains. So it's Arica y Parinacota. The mountains here are mostly really big, imposing volcanoes. They are really something to see. Behind being, I believe it's right around here, so it's not demarcated on my map, but it's Mount Parinacota, and it's beautiful. It reminds me of Mount Fuji. I'll show you on Google Earth. But it's a really interesting blending of the desert and mountain landscapes, especially in the middle, where you get these weird grassy plains in the dry sand with the big mountains and snow. We have a big salt flat here, the Salar de, Surire, that's what it was, Salar de Surire. Lots of, as you can see, salt flats all over here, including the largest in the world, but we're over here today. And we can also find the Lauca National Park, where we have the best examples of these two biomes just mashing together with unique wildlife and plants. Just a really incredible atmosphere. On all the websites I read, the number one thing to apparently do is go to this park and explore. It's like every website I read urged us to go here, so we're definitely checking that out on Google Earth as well. Let's briefly talk about the history, because at the start of the history of this region, we have a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let me grab my tablet and we'll pull up UNESCO's website to read about the settlement and artificial mummification of the Chinchorro culture in the Arica and Parinacota region. Long name. But let's read this paragraph here. You can see it was just added a few years ago. The property consists of 3 component parts: Faldeo Norte de Morro de Arica, Colondis, both in the city of Arica, and Desembocadura de Camarones, in a rural environment some 100 kilometers further south. Together they bear testimony to a culture of marine hunter-gatherers who resided in the arid and hostile northern coast of the Atacama Desert in northernmost Chile from approximately 5450 BCE to 890 BCE. The property presents the oldest known archaeological evidence of the artificial mummification of bodies, with cemeteries that contain both artificially mummified bodies and some that were preserved due to environmental conditions. Over time, the Chinchorro perfected complex mortuary practices, whereby they systematically dismembered and reassembled bodies of deceased men, women, and children of the entire social spectrum to create artificial mummies. These mummies possess material, sculptural, and aesthetic qualities that are presumed to reflect the fundamental role of the dead in Chinchorro society. Tools made of mineral and plant materials, as well as simple instruments made of bone and shells that enabled an intensive exploitation of marine resources, have been found in the property, which bears a unique testimony to the complex spirituality of the Chinchorro culture. That was a lot, but I like when they're long, to be honest. Let's see some pictures. I will show you more. Along the beach, they've erected these beautiful statues of Chinchorro mummies that just reflect on what once was in that region. Here's an actual child there. I should have warned you that there are actual mummies in this video. So, I'm sorry if seeing human remains bothers you. There's going to be quite a bit of mummies. We're going to look at this museum too on Google Earth, and I guess we'll check out this one too, because that's right by the Morro de Arica. But we'll see some really more neat examples of how these people mummified their dead. And yes, they are the world's oldest mummies. Yes, that means they are older than the oldest Egyptian mummy. That one said like 5800 BCE, but I read sources that the oldest mummy was from 7000 BCE. So they had been mummifying for a long, long, long time. And like it said, some mummies were just bodies that were lost up in the mountains and they froze and were preserved, but a lot of them were artificial mummies in that they had death masks and they were wrapped in a certain way and buried just so, they had funerary practices. And yes, they were very big fishers as well. You'll see that in the museums. But they were gone long before most of the advanced civilizations of the area, like the Tiwanaku, then the Inca, and then of course came the Spanish. The city of Arica, what would become the city of Arica, was founded in 1541. And over here you can see Potosi in Bolivia, which had a huge, huge natural resource of silver, which of course the Spanish were a little obsessed with. A huge silver mine was built in Potosi. So Arica became one of the main ports to ship that silver out toward Spain. So of course this area was part of the Viceroyalty of Peru. So once Peru became independent, they made this region part of Arequipa, which we've already talked about on my channel last week, Arequipa. They'd eventually divide Tacna and Arica, but it's not really terribly important. It's just important to know that this was part of Peru and independence. It was officially formed in 1823. I don't know if I said that. But that would change a few decades later when war would break out between Chile and Bolivia and Peru. There were many, many wars in South America over borders, where exactly they should be drawn. There are still border disputes to this day, even here, but hold that thought. Bolivia wanted to secure its port out here because it didn't have a coastline except for over here. Peru was in alliance with Bolivia. And once it got to the point that it became too hostile, they declared war, and it became the War of the Pacific. Bolivia dropped out a bit after the war started, so it was just Peru versus Chile, and it lasted from 1879 to 1884. And long story short, Chile absolutely whooped Peru, like big bad time. They dominated. And there's even a battle here in Arica. The Battle of Arica was fought in 1880. And the Muro de Arica is important because the Peruvian soldiers were, I think they were stationed on top of it, and it was the last holdout of the Peruvian soldiers as the Chilean army swarmed them and eventually took over. So at the end of the war, they drafted the Treaty of Ancon in 1884, and Arica became part of Chile officially. Peru wasn't very happy about the treatment of Peruvians in this area. Chile was openly discriminating against Peruvians living in the area. So it almost reached another war, but thankfully a negotiation and a treaty was brokered in 1929, the Treaty of Lima, which formally, for real this time, established the borders between Peru and Chile. And like I said, there's still disputes to this day. It's mainly the maritime borders, but that was resolved about 10 years ago. It was in the 2010s. And for the most part, that is about all that I have for history. Arica is still considered a Bolivian port, kind of out of courtesy. Many Bolivians come there to enjoy the beach, since they don't have a beach anymore after that. And there's a pipeline, oil pipeline, that ends here. That's Bolivian. So they can get some oil, And that's pretty much it. I'm excited to show you some sights here in this area. So let me grab my tablet, let me dim the lights, and we will explore Arica y Parinacota. So here we are in Arica y Parinacota. Let me zoom out so you can see exactly where we're in the world. We're not quite sure where Chile is even located. We are in South America. Right there, and you can see the Andes Mountains here and the Atacama Desert just dominating this entire coastline. And also you can see, I think this is the Nazca Plate here. I think that's what it is. It's a tectonic plate that creates all of this. That creates the mountains and volcanoes and the seismic activity of this whole area here. It's really neat that you can see that on Google Earth. But let's start over in Arica, which we can see right here. We're starting off with the Morro de Arica. Let me put in 3D so you can see this very prominent big rock here. Look at that. Let's check out the slideshows. It is a big old rock, you guys. It is huge. There's a big Chilean flag on the top. There's a statue of Jesus on the top. You can see all around. And there's some neat little memorials and a museum too up here with the old weapons they used in, it must have been the War of the Pacific, right? It's got to be. There's the city all lit up at night. Beautiful, beautiful views from atop this giant rock. There's Jose de San Martin up there, big hero of the area. You can climb on all the old cannons and things. Very cool. Yeah, there's a Museo de Armas up there. Here's the statue of Jesus, monuments, but you've already seen them all. There's nothing more to show you, really. Very cool little spot. And while we're over along the shore, past the big port here, to see the Playa, oh no, not Playa Tortuga. We want the Playa Chinchorro, where there's a beautiful statue for the Chinchorro culture. Look at this old boat here. It's almost like Viking inspired, but this is so many thousands of years before the Vikings, right? It's so neat. I thought there I could see the statue in the slideshow. Oh, that looks so relaxing. I thought we could see the statue in this slideshow, but I guess not. Where is it? Darn. Oh, I thought it was in the slideshow. I guess. Oh, that's cute. I guess not. Paseo ginger, maybe. Nope. Darn. Well, take my word for it. There's a cool statue over here. I promise you. Darn. But you also saw some neat statues on it. Maybe it is Playa Tortuga. No, I don't think so. No. Little rocky beach, though. Look at all the ships out on the horizon ready to dock. Very rocky beach. Oh well, take my word for it. We have a little Chinchorro museum over here. Which, yes, we are going to see actual mummies, actual bodies, right? And what's interesting is that this is an actual digging site that they just put glass over so it won't be disturbed, so that we can look and see what once lay beneath our feet. Let's see if there's better. Come on. Beautiful pictures, but I want to see. Yeah, so you can see that you can just look over at these old burial sites. Very fascinating, isn't it? Kind of haunting too, in a way. Yeah, wow. Very kind of eerie. There's also this beautiful church here, the Cathedral de San Marcos. It looks like candy. It looks edible. It's so sweet. It is a beautiful little church. It looks like it's made out of candy. It's so pretty. There's the little plaza. There's Jesus. A little statue there. Christmas time. It's all decked out, of course. And I like this. The little virgin there of the rocks and people leaving little notes or prayers. It's really pretty. But I'm going to show you some more mummies, because I know you want to see the Chinchorro mummies. We are going to head a bit farther out to this town here, San Miguel de Azapa, which was the other place I read on tourist websites. That was like, you have to come to San Miguel de Azapa, because it's a lot of traditional culture. But I'm just going to show you the museum here, because this is where we have, I believe it's the largest collection of the Chinchorro mummies. There's some down in Santiago and the other major museums of Chile. But yeah, we have them laid out and displayed. All these incredible artifacts here. All their tools that they used. And see, here's a good example that they've made these really eerie looking funerary masks, and they definitely wrapped the bodies in something like mud and clay, maybe some kind of parchment. I don't know what they would have used. Some kind of cloth. And created these mummies. You can see that's a baby. But the masks are so eerie. Look at that. So what's left of that one. But you can see it was buried with artifacts as well. Clothing. There's a diagram here of how they would mummify these bodies. And you can see, like in that, when we saw a while back, let me just flip to it, that, like, you can see this guy's feet, right? But that's not a foot. That is a piece of wood. So you can see in this artwork here that if they were missing parts, for whatever reason, they would just replace it with wooden sticks. And create these mummies. The landscape there. Wow. And there's lots of neat rock art in front of the museum. Can you see the designs there? It's so incredible. An example of what their homes might have looked or would have looked like. There's weaving happening there. You can see this beautiful cloth work. So detailed, and lots of little awls and things to help create. And there's some pan flutes. That's so cool. Some more mummies. And look at this, a headpiece. And it almost looks like armor. That's so beautiful. colors and designs. I wonder how they made the dye to make red and blue like that. It looks like an oven, but I can't tell. It's very, very incredible. I'm so mad I couldn't find that statue. It's somewhere around there. Maybe you can explore and find it. It's somewhere around the coast there to commemorate the fishing culture. But let's head over to Lauca National Park. You can see what I mean about how beautiful this volcano looks and how it reminds me of Mount Fuji. Do you see it? Doesn't that look Fuji-esque? And then this incredible, like, barren but lush in its own weird way landscape. It's so beautiful. There's lots of fluffy friends out here. There's lots of old missions too in this area. Lakes, there's another mission. Of course, built by the Spanish to convert to the local peoples. And what a landscape. It's so barren and rocky, but like not like it is a desert, right? But not. I don't know how to describe this place. There's a big pan flute statue. There's a llama. It's so interesting. Little towns that are in the national park. The town of Parinacota is within the national park. That's a vicuña, a very tiny little llama alpaca related friend. Pretty birds too. Look how black his face is. Oh, and this is a vizcacha, a little rodent, kind of like a chinchilla, but I think a lot cuter. Look at those big old bunny ears and a long tail. They're cute. And a little goose friend. Over here we have the mountain, Volcan Parinacota. And we put in 3D so you can see just how it dominates the landscape. I know you saw in the pictures, but look at how the geography has changed from many, many, many years of eruptions. It's creating all of this and then all of this down here. Let's take a look at it. The other side is in Bolivia, so we'll just look at this side. It's so beautiful. Look at this shrubby plant life here. That is so gorgeous, isn't it? It's a beautiful mountain. A big crater here. I didn't look up to see if it was dormant or still active, but it looks pretty dormant to me. It's very snow covered, right? I was reading on a website about Lauca National Park. I think this is also a mission that was built on the side of the mountain. I think that's the one. Could be wrong. But man, it is gorgeous, isn't it? Oh, you reached the top. What an achievement. Wow. Look at that view. Oh. This is the highest mountain in the region as well. So cool. Let's go to, let's get out of Bolivia. We don't want to wind up accidentally wandering over there. I want to see, make sure I'm facing the right way. There we go, so I'm not discombobulated. I'm going to show you this huge salt flat down here. Look at this, it's absolutely massive. But we are in the corner of the world where massive salt flats exist. I presume this was a salt lake at one point that shrank down because we're in the desert, and now all that's left is all the salt. Look at the little friend. There's flamingos here. Another sweet little vizcacha. Well, yeah, so I imagine it's very crunchy and very barren, but still lots of life. The flamingos love it, don't they? All the shrubbery thrives. This grass. The vicuñas. Salón de Surire. It's so pretty. What a very unique landscape this place has. So cute. Oh my goodness, so sweet. But I'm going to end this video looking at more vizcachas. Not vizcachas, vicuñas. This is the natural reserve of the vicuñas. we can see some sweets. I think these are llamas. From what I can tell, llamas have really kind of raggy hair. Reminds me of kind of like sheep. And long ears. Alpacas are fluffy with slightly shorter ears. And vicuñas are just little guys. They have much longer necks, in my opinion. They're just like half the size. They're mini versions. Look at this old mission. Wow. See, these are alpacas. Right? Very fluffed. Flamingos and the mountains. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel. Next, we're going to be heading over to Trinidad. Look at all these friends. We're going to a very small town in Trinidad with an incredibly interesting history. I had so much fun researching it. These are vicunias. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. I hope that you'll have a good